We'll get into it. Game number 1 of day number 2. Straight into it right away. And for those of you guys who are watching on YouTube, if you're wondering what program I'm using, it is a program created by Otter Production. You can go on Twitter and follow them on OtterProd. Description is in the link is in the description. And yeah, so don't mind. You don't have to ask in the comments, because that's like the main question we get in the comments. What is the program? How do we get it? Go in the Twitter and there's a link to it right there. So planes in the sky, everything is, well, pretty straightforward. People jumping out, nothing really new under the sun here. Of course, Los Leones and Puerto Paraíso are not really in reach with the planes, so we'll see more teams go north. But other than that, not a whole lot of surprises. This circle though. Okay, so circle 1 here. Normally you talk about, oh, when you go from Los Leones, you have to go up this way, or you have to go over this way, and all those things. But since since the plane was north anyway, and yeah, so it's not really a big deal at all actually for teams to get up here. The only thing is that for teams that are sitting like out east, or Navi, G2, those teams, they can't just go in. Obviously, you have San Martin here, NIP. Not that they're really guarding it in that aspect, but you don't want to drive through the city just because you don't know when they're going to move out, right? So you're probably up to see teams go up north, or maybe honestly, it would be a long shot, but if ENS goes all the way down to Impala, then they could actually want to go all the way underneath. So even though I said before it doesn't really matter, we would still probably see the rotations coming in from each side. And then if we see Vitality or M19 move in straight, then it wouldn't be before late. Because one of the things here is, first of all, you have El Pozo in the center of everything. You know it's being looted, and this is what we always talk about, right? You want to draw up that center of the circle where teams really want to go to. Issue here being that half the center is a city, the other half is like open fields. So you can't really take as much center control, and if FaZe decides to split, either to Monte and 2 up by Uber, split the warehouses in this, take control of the hilltop, and there's just not a lot of room, so teams are forced to like play further on the edge than you would need to had you had a chance to go far center. Just something to keep in mind. There's not as much room to take in the center. We actually do see M19 go down. So I said ENS, but M19 are the ones to drive down south. I mean, of course they're still looting, but clearly they're looting further south, because they want to be able to rotate this way whenever they have to, right? Whenever it comes down to it. Team Liquid, they're rotating through Red Diamonds. We've seen that happen before. Not a whole lot of surprises there. Crowd, they're going up on the west side, I guess. Makes perfect sense too. Team Liquid crawling on over. They want to go around, and that's the thing, right? Because we talked about how you have a city that's going to guard the rotation you wanted to have coming in this way. And then you have so many open fields, and if a team sets up shop up here where we have Knights right now, they can just like laser down at people trying to rotate through, and you also don't know if there's anyone in Monte Nuevo, so it's not really going to make things a lot easier for you. So it makes perfect sense that they want to try and like kind of avoid this area and rotate in from underneath. And also they know that El Pozo is looted, this whole area is looted, so there's not really a point in trying to make it over here, because then you could be running into Knights who split here, or running into, I mean, even NIP, if they decide to not go up like this, but maybe go down and take there's like a valley in the mountain, a downhill, I don't know, like a plateau up here that you can sit and camp from too. So it makes perfect sense that teams swoop underneath, not trying to go in for the straight middle. Only thing, of course, being that they only really have this much room to rotate through. Kind of limits their rotation opportunities, but it's not really the worst. ENS, they're coming late, so they're going to go north. Makes sense. They know that this area down here has been trafficked with teams coming in. Raya and Navi, they go north. So as we said before, not really a lot of teams going in the middle. Only Vitality, and they were out here and they waited. We said they were going to wait till late. That's exactly what they did. New circle pops, and of course we still have some of this in. For those of you guys who don't know, this is inaccessible. You cannot play around this area. Everything where the shadow goes is territory you cannot play from. So now circle goes down south, and one of the main issues I want to say is because we have 1, 2, well 2.5, 3, and potentially like even 4 teams north with Navi sitting up there. They're still like miles up north, right? One of the main issues becomes that your only real entry point to the circle here is on the west side. Because if you, first of all, you know that there's going to be teams down here at this point. Second of all, you have El Pozo. And honestly, I mean, Circle 2, crashing a city, not really the thing you want to do. And if you want to go into a city, you normally want to sit on the edge of the city that is the furthest towards the center of the circle, so that you have a chance to rotate in or kill people rotating towards you. If you go into the edge of the city here, then you have to, well, not necessarily fight your way through, but like carefully maneuver your way through the entire city to get out on the other side. You cannot just like sprint on through, then people that could be sitting in there will be shooting at you. So for NIP, they have to figure, what do we want to do here? Do we want to do that, like crash in and then play it really slow? Or do we maybe even want to take our vehicles and go all the way around? Because, I mean, they came from Saint Martin, right? They probably heard G2 in their vehicles, but wouldn't be a necessarily a bad play to try and find the new angle to the circle. Only thing is, what can you really take down here? You have the same situation on the other side. Do you want to crash into a city on this side, or do you want to go around just to crash a city on this side? So unless if they wanted to rotate like this, which would be, I mean, it would be a smart rotation at this point. Of course, we don't know where it's going from here, but it's also really dangerous. It's going to take a lot of time, and there's a chance you'll be shot at, because they know as well that the circle center here is very hard to play from. So there must be other people that are still out, right? Of course, you can also just take the church compound and sort of postpone the whole thing for another circle. Only thing being that if you take it now and then the circle goes south, then, I mean, the blue is going to do that much more damage, right? Ends still in the blue, they're not in yet. M19 coming from the south as well. Navi, they're taking the, kind of hugging the wall around the side. And you can see TSM as well, they're sitting down here. Actually, smart read from G2. G2 was sitting up here, they spot TSM move, and then they go in and take it after them. And TSM, they're saying, nope, not playing the city. They're going all the way around as well. NIP, they're going over the top. They want to get in from up here. Ends, they're coming in from the top. Probably should have gone south, but I mean, it's always easy to say when we have the the big view of what's going on. G2 now making a rotation just before the circle. They sent, oh my god, that's a ballsy play. This is, I mean, this is scouting for you. This is scouting. Look at this. Look at this. G2 is sitting up here. And, sorry, they probably see Nuki and Yorski sitting up where they are. They see Nuki and Yorski down here, and I don't know if they see Timmy and Tixu as well, but they clearly figure out this is a split. I mean, they can sit up here, they have a high ground position, and with scopes they can look in this direction, right? And look at the committed push. They go all the way around the backside, then they come in, they keep two guys behind, and then they have two guys in the vehicle, right? Udyr and Kaint, I think it is, on the bike. They just send it down, get the first knocked. Oh, actually, they get knocked. Never mind. Okay, so I'm going to take that back because it was them getting killed, but I like the idea. They wanted to go up, take control here. And, well, clearly it didn't work out for them. But they read that it's a 2-2 split, and they wanted to commit 4 guys to the push in one of the spaces. And I think that's a really smart play to make. It didn't work, fair. But they made a read. They said they're sitting 2-2. We have a chance to push on this. And they did. Didn't work, but they tried. NIP forced up on the edge. They're not going back again. Makes perfect sense. I mean, this is the thing you do, right? Because NIP, they came in. Look at how they rotated in. They came in this way. At no point did anyone shoot at them. So it's pretty smart for them to stay with the new circle popping. Boink. Wait, so we were sitting up here before. There was no one shooting us when we came over here. We didn't see anyone or hear anyone rotate back that way. So why not just reverse it and go back where we came from and take the position we were in before? I mean, they just had a free rotation to one side. Why not just do the same thing back when it shifts east? So smart rotation coming in from NIP. I'm not sure if they'll be able to execute it because now they have ends. They have Razor Edge kind of blocking them off on where they were before. But you can see they're playing it really slow. Trying to get the info. And, well, now they have to, yeah. So they came all the way around trying to get back to where they were before. And then they realized, you know what, in the end, let's just go into El Pozo because Ents is sitting up there. These circles, man, they always end in this area. It's crazy. Of course, it goes down to the field as well. Okay, so now we have a new issue. Huge field, compound that's already taken, hilltop that's already taken, and a big road holding off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams. These 6 teams, they have 2 options. Either A, you go south and you try and somehow get up this way. But this is a big field, so that's probably not going to grant you anything. Or B, you go north and crash into the city and run down. Because if you try to push across the road here, I mean, sure, there are only 2 guys in Windstrike, but I mean, the entirety of Digital will be shooting at you. And I don't know, it's going to be really hard to find a place to call your own over on this side, that's for sure. But of course, I mean, when you're late game and like this is circle 4 and there's still 57 alive. Not sure exactly how so many people manage to stay alive through this. But impressive nonetheless that they sort of managed to coordinate their way in. Team Liquid, they're crashing at dead center. Again, there's not a whole lot to do in this circle. So the fact that they actually get 2 guys in, that's pretty fortunate. That could really, really come out to help them out in the end too. Samty gets finished off. Ibiza is all by himself. They wanted was kind of Samty, who was the hiding guy just trying to get placements. But now it's all the other guys. Ends sitting up north trying to get in. NIP, they were too late to it. They get held off. Northern hard shift. Lul, Ibiza sitting dead center in the circle now. And then this is the thing, right? Uphill push, uphill push. Not really uphill, but in, push, and across the road. I mean, for Knights, all these guys have to do sitting here is just contain. Because they can look into the field. You can have one guy looking in, but there's not going to be anyone running around in here. I mean, the guys that are in the field now are going to be sitting like ducks and not doing anything. So that's not really a worry. So all they have to do is have one guy holding this, and just 3 guys, if not even full team, containing outside. Because they cannot let Red Diamonds, or Vitality for that sake, make a push on up here. So they send Ivo, it seems like, up to hold this, while they have 3 guys looking down. Makes perfect sense. They have to worry that Windstrike don't get to push them. But now they're making a third-party engagement on the Red Diamonds and Knights fight. Makes perfect, like, smart idea, smart play from Digital. I'm not sure if they actually get to execute it probably. Ends they came in so late and they get a triple northeastern hard shift, and they actually look at this. I mean, when we were before the circle went up by the church here, right? This was 3 circles ago, and now it has only moved what, like 150 meters down. That's crazy. So many northeastern shifts. I think NIP, they're a little sad that they didn't stay on that side. But then again, I mean, you can never know these things. Ibiza somehow still alive, just chilling in the middle. Braxco's doing the same thing. And Ents might just win this off of being extremely fortunate that they came in so late. And hey, Flo, sorry I didn't see you there. Ents playing it safe. 1v1v1 v4. I mean, what you gonna do? And then this is the thing, right? Is this a situation where people just suicide because they know they can't win? That's kind of what we're seeing in this not the points system, but in PEL these days. A lot of suiciding, and people have a lot of different sort of not comments, but a lot of different feelings about it. It seems like that's one suicide, and Ibiza dies too. So game over. Not a whole lot more to it. When you have a shift that continues to go up, and then look at this. I mean, it first goes down south hard shift, and then boom, boom, goes up to them again. Not a whole lot more to it with that one. So that was game number 1. Game number 1 in the books on solo, that one. We'll go over to game number 2. And if you guys have any questions, again, I keep saying it, but that's because I really want to put emphasis on it. If you guys have anything you want to know or ask, please do that, because that's why we're doing these things. For me to learn more, and potentially for you guys to learn more. And if you're a pro player that have been playing in any of these games, or if you're a coach maybe, and you have a comment like, Toby, this is not true, this is not why we did this, or this is not true, this is something else, please do tell as well, because I would love to get educated on things that I think I know, but I don't. Okay, so from one western circle to a hard eastern circle. This time around, the plane is allowing it to, right? So same thing's gonna be the fact here that we talked about in circle 3 before. Los Leones, not a place you want to go to. You can sit around Los Leones, but this pretty much blocks off this entire side as far as entering the circle goes, or entering the circle. Kinda the same thing about Minas. Minas is not really the same city per se as Los Leones is. Like, it's not as dense, but I would still assume to see a lot of teams try and make their way over here. Maybe like anywhere here, try and make their way in, and from the south. That would be my bet. And then, of course, you're going to have people coming in from around La Bandida. But the thing about La Bandida is that, I mean, it's a big crater, so you don't really want to get caught inside. You can hold around it though. But city center, or like center of the circle, being all the way out here, is an interesting one. It's on the edge and it's gonna be tricky to play around. Wait, is this the game that goes to the island? Is it? I don't remember what day it was that it went to the island, but as we can see, everyone is coming in south, everyone's coming in north. Not a whole lot of teams moving in here until very late. Okay, so tight. A lot of teams fighting. G2 and Braxco, G2 and TSM. They're fighting over the south side of La Bandida, down by the gas station down here. Just, I mean, this is what happens. Teams trying to get the better center position early and forcing fights because of it. Okay, so this is not the military. This is not the island game. There was an island game. They're always interesting as well. But this is not the one. So everyone trying to make their way on down. We'll just slow it down a little bit so we can see everything going on here. And once again, I mean, Los Leones is taking up probably, I don't know, 15% of the circle. You have Impala as well, not really a place you want to go to. So making rotations in from the north becomes a going like that, going like that. You pretty much only have this like width to go through. And the issue with this is that it's a huge field. I mean, everything down here, other than the compound that these guys are sitting in, everything here is completely open, right? Same thing going over here. It's really hard to rotate through, especially with vehicles. Because A, if you drive through, you're going to be shot at by a billion teams. And B, you can't really drive there because it's so hilly that you won't be able to maintain a high speed so that you can avoid getting killed. So before you get down over the road here, like there's a road going here, you can't see with all the names. So there's a road going there. Before you get south of that, you're pretty much forced to... well, you pretty much need a knock or two, unless if you just want to send it, and that's going to be tricky. But look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams are sitting by the road or north of the road. And then you have the other bunch fighting in the bottom, right? So city, making it really hard to rotate in. Of course, Port Paraiso at this point doesn't really have any impact, but makes it hard. You can see Liquid, they're trying to send it through G2 and ENS. They're kind of splitting up, holding each their side of the gate. Because they know as well, I mean, they know as well you can't really rotate through anywhere else, right? So they've set themselves up extremely smart for this circle. NIP, they came around, took this position. Smart play by them. They beat Vitality to it. You can see they were sitting 2-2 split. And then as soon as they get shot at, as soon as they see Vitality push up on them, because they got a player knocked from Vitality, they're sitting 2-2 split, and all of a sudden it's a 1v4 if the push comes in, right? So they get the res up. Vitality makes the correct play. They sense a 2-2 split, and they get a knock, and they go on it. And that forces NIP to go from 2-2 to 4 together. Makes perfect sense, and smart disengage by NIP. Red Diamonds, they come in from the south. Smart rotation. Not a whole lot more you can do. Rye trying to take some control down by the water. Yikes. Yikes. Okay, so we get a... Ugh, this is horrible. So we get a western shift, and now it's a race to the city. That's pretty much all it is. For the teams that are not in the city, we're talking Crowd, we're talking Digital, NIP even for that sake, ENS maybe as well. It's gonna be up to them. I mean, these 4 teams, I would say Vitality as well, but they're on the other side of the road, so it's not really the case right here. These 4 teams, they dictate from their position how the end of the game is gonna be. Because if they don't move further in towards Los Leones, if they decide to stay because they want to keep off anyone coming in, then everything is going to happen out in the blue. There are so many teams east of the circle at this point. So many teams down here that if these 4 teams don't decide to move further in, like if they don't make space for all the teams trying to push forward, it's just going to be a chaotic end. So we'll have to look at those 4 teams, see what they do. Digital, they go into the city. The official website doesn't work in Kazakhstan. Huh. That's strange. How come? Maybe it's blocked, I don't know. Everyone's trying to drive in. Crowd, they're staying. They have a good compound, so it makes sense. Digital, they're trying to set up shop. Everyone's trying to go around because obviously they know that there will be teams sitting around the middle here trying to hold them off. So Red Diamonds, they go around. Smart play. Knights, they go around the top as well. Makes perfect sense. G2, slowly making their way forward. And now we go up north. So the circle really wants to contain, or like wants to keep Los Leones in. NIP, good spot. Vitality in a good spot. You have the hills up here that you can see digital. They're making their way up towards. Will they be beat to it though? We don't know. Knights under fire. Face, they're trying to run through the city. They run into red diamonds. Seems like they managed to get out of it alive. You can see all the kill feed. I mean, the kill feed is just hectic at this point. I think... Yeah, exactly. The entirety of G2 gets killed off in their rotation. It's just, I mean, the thing is you can't rotate on foot because it's so open. And you cannot rotate on vehicle because it's practically impossible to maneuver around. Wait, did I? Oh, wait, I have to... Thanks for the follow, but I have to just turn off the stream sounds. I'll just do that real quick. Takes 2 seconds. Alert box. 0. There should be a quicker way to do this, but I guess there aren't. Alright. I wish I could just have one key binding for alert sounds to be muted. Maybe there's one, I don't know. We'll just do this. Takes 1 second. And there we go. Oh, thanks for the follow. Come get some. And that's exactly what's happening here. As I said before, if you rotate on foot, you're fucked. If you rotate on vehicle, you're fucked. You just have to shoot, shoot, and shoot, and shoot. Like, there's no hiding in this circle. You just have to shoot and then hope that you get some knocks that forces the other team to play defensive. But because you're so open, even if the other team gets a player knocked, odds are they will try and kill you anyway. Circle continues to go northwest, away from the majority of the teams. So many on the edge. NIP, they, well, I mean, they let Vitality cross, and now they have to find their way in. Everyone else trying to make their way in as well. And this is just, I mean, you have the mountainside here, and then you have the container area down by where Digital is sitting in the center. It's just, I mean, it's just chaos. You can see how many teams are. 29 alive in this circle. Doesn't exactly make things any easier. Gaxi all by himself trying to sneak in. Not gonna happen. The fact that Vitality, I mean, that's a bit surprising to me, honestly. Yeah. I guess what happens is that NIP, and maybe Dopus, if you're still here, you can tell me. NIP from this position, they want to make, like, try and hold off anyone coming in. You can see there's like vehicles coming in there as well, and they know that Jokers are sitting over here on the edge, so they want to contain them. But in doing so, they allow for Vitality to not only get around them, but get a high ground position on them. And that kind of screws them over. Because everything since then is just Vitality pinning down NIP. So Circle comes closing on in. Not exactly any easier to play from. What do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams in this small container area. I mean, that's just city endings for you. Navi, they see everyone fighting. They want to push over and get a third party. Actually, a pretty smart call to make the run around the side, trying to get a high ground position and try and see if they get third party the fight happening up here. They're a little late to the party, but smart play coming up from them. Really smart, actually. Now they're running back down to take some control. They have like the ridge up here to play from. Try and shoot down. They full push over towards Voxic. He gets down 2, but goes down in return. And yeah, all of a sudden, I mean, Navi, because they made this push, you can see they had like the most north position in the containers, right? Because they push out like this at the time they do, because they're sitting tight for a long time, but as soon as this entire engagement starts and everyone starts shooting, that's when they run up to third party. They get themselves, I think Battlein gets 1 kill. Yep, he gets 1 kill off of it. But that just sets them up for the victory. So really, really smart play coming out from Navi there, and I believe they must win this, right? Yep, they do. Really smart play from Navi in the end to sense that there's so much pressure in the container area that we need to back off of that, because we won't have any control. It's so close. Everyone's at the same level. But if we can third party up here and get a move around, we could be able to make a play off of it. So really smart rotation from Navi there. And that's something I've kind of been missing from them, honestly, because I mean, they're a good team. They've won tournaments before, and in this tournament, at least so far, I've been missing them really getting things together. But this right here, super smart play from Navi. Didn't play proactive, basically gave away the top compound to Vitality. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what I was thinking too. That when you were sitting down in the compound, you had a chance to either hold them. It was like sitting here with, I mean, it makes perfect sense you want to stay in this circle, right? Oh, not this one, this one. That you want to stick around because you have a chance to either hold off here or hold off here. But because, I think because they tried to hold off both sides, like there's so many teams, like you got a team coming in here, you got a team sitting up here, you got Vitality here. But because the focus was on all of them instead of one of them, then all of them kind of allowed, like all of them were pretty much allowed to get through. You didn't have eyes on it? You didn't have eyes on what? On Vitality? On the compound? Yeah, because it's uphill. Makes sense. It's hard. Like it's scary as fuck to push uphill like that too. Because you have to do it on foot, right? So I don't even know. Can you get up there? Or do you have to go all the way around? I'm sorry, my terrain knowledge on Miramar is good, but I mean, in some, do you have to go like this, or can you run up there? Yeah, I mean, and again, you had a compound in the circle. Had it shifted anywhere but hard into this, like, west? Had it gone south, southwest, east, anywhere? I mean, pretty much had it not included you and not included Vitality, you would have been in a good position. But because it goes, like, this is pretty much the only shift that fucks you over with them having the high ground. Makes sense. So that was game 2, guys. We're going through them not fast today, but a little faster because we have 4 days to cover. Yesterday we spent, not yesterday, but on day 1 we spent 2 hours covering 1 day, and I don't really have 6 hours to cover this because we're starting the PEL promotional cast relegation to thing. I think it starts at 6, so I'm kind of trying to go through them. Maybe we'll have to only do day 1 and 2, or day 3 and 2 and 3, and then we'll do day 4 tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see how many of the games we can get through. But that was game 2. That was game 2. We'll now jump over to game number 3 as we once again take to Miramar, our favorite map. I love that you get to play it. Actually, I don't mind Miramar at all. And Kaint is on the map. What the heck? API, by the way. Yippee! I get to jump first. I guess I don't. It's always funny. You can't get up there. Oh yeah, okay, but it's steep. Yeah, makes sense. And you knew that jokers were in the compound in the field. They would be shooting at you. You had ends on the east side. They could be shooting at you. So even making a push-up could have fucked you over too. That's the thing with Miramar. You gotta, like, at least to me, the way that teams split, and that's one of the things that I think the Koreans do better than the Europeans, actually. Their splits on Miramar, I mean, first of all, they barely ever do it. But when they do, I like to always say that if you want to split on Miramar, you have to sit in, like just in compounds in general, if you want to split, you have to do it from 2 compounds where you have a chance to help out each other. So if one gets pushed, the other one can kind of hold them off and stuff like that. But in Miramar, I think it's more of a, if you want to split 2 compounds, have vision on one, take the second, and then the third one doesn't have to be one that has vision, but it has to be one that's one of those I can't get to it if, for example, down here. Let's just zoom in here and take a look. For example, down here where Trifly is right now, right? These 2 compounds. That's what we talked about before. If you have a chance, because NIP were sitting 2 guys, whoops, 2 guys there, 2 guys there, and no one was up here, obviously. But if you're sitting 2-2, then I think what the Koreans would have done, at least that's what I've seen more often, is that instead of sitting 2-2 split like this, because it makes sense that you have a team here and a team here, because if this one gets pushed, then these guys can help them, right? I mean, they can easily get back to it. But what I would see more often in Korea is that you have 2 guys here, 2 guys here, and then they leave this one open. Because they can both shoot down towards it, should a team decide to go for it, and they can both contain them, because it's on the other side of the road, and they would have to push across at some point. But I mean, these 2 compounds can't really help each other. If this one gets pushed up, it's really hard for this team to go up and help. And if this team gets pushed down, these guys can go out to help, but they would leave the compound vulnerable for other teams to go and take, right? But it's just, I mean, in this scenario, with these 3 compounds, at least what I've seen in the Korean scene is they tend to do more of a more of a priority split rather than a help each other split in the compounds. You have to be more greedy. Yeah, exactly. Yep, circles fuck you harder. Yup, that is correct. Maybe I should actually wait. Do I not have the chat on so whoever is watching the videos can see chat intro? Oh, it is on. Oh, it's in the bottom. Okay, so if I write, does it pop up? Yes, it does. Perfect. Getting the circle way more important on Miramar than a angle. Yeah, it does. It does decide the game for most. Not always, but I completely agree with you. It can change up things by quite a margin. So, circle goes center north, I guess you can say. And this time around, easy rotation for everyone. We don't really have the whole same situation where a city blocks off an entrance only up here. But both, I mean, ratio edge is in, and wind strike, they could go through if they want to, because they know that no one's up here. Face could go all the way around the side. Face, they're dropping south this time around. It makes sense, because if you see this one, look at the plane, right? People were asking me that as well. If you look at the plane, it's an eastern one. First of all, it's up. It's like the plane goes like this. So for face, they normally loot Monte Nuevo. But if they want to go over there directly, they would have to fly through here, which would then force them to take... I mean, it would force them to fight for vehicles in the loot spot of red diamonds. And that's like a big no-no. So they go south. They see the circle go north. There's no reason for them to try and go up to Montenegro, and they will they'll move later on that. So it makes perfect sense. Navi, they're south again. I think Ence's split is interesting. They've done this before, like La Bandita splitting and Edge of Las Leones splitting. I think it's pretty good split, because you have so much info and your split's so thin, but still in a position where no one's really gonna fight you. Face go all the way around. They run into red diamonds. They want to go up and over. Liquid sitting 2-2 split. That's pretty thin, but I guess it works anyway. Ibiza pushes over and gets the kill. Circle continues to go north, and now this becomes a thing, right? San Martin is here. You have the entire ridge line going like this. So you got to go all the way over and all the way over, because this as well is a big open field. So we don't really want to be in that spot, well, at any point really. M19 goes around, Navi goes around, Ence goes around trying to go far up north, hoping for a northern shift. We'll just slow it down a little. And now the circle centers. So TSM, they're sitting well in it, 2-2 split. They have perfect vision on each other. They can help out each other. The only real threat to this compound is the ridge line up here. But they know that there are so many teams that if one sits up here, they'll be taking fire from behind as well. So it's not really an issue in the end. So really smart split from TSM. They can help each other, and they can get plenty of info. And it's possible to push across, because there won't really be anyone in positions where they can deny them the rotation should two of them try to rotate over to the other. There's no one that can sit safe with vision on the compounds at this point, at least. So smart splits from TSM, taking some priority areas. Jokers full on committing down to G2. G2 saying nope, ain't gonna have that. We'll continue moving on forward. Ends coming in from the far north. NIP taking top side. Face, they're going high ground. Damighty, why do I want to say that? Because it's DA, Damighty. Digital, they go for high ground position as well. There's a good high ground spot up there, so you can pretty much see the entire thing down here. Ends, they get... So Rostenmark goes up here to scout. And he probably spots Bestelog leave. Yeah, he leaves as he comes in. But... They swap vehicles, they go over. I mean, I guess they wouldn't really have anywhere else to go, right? It's just you're so pinned down when you come in from this side, because you have this entire mountain side here that is impossible to rotate on, practically. And sure, they don't know that Red Diamonds is in here. Actually, Bestelog kind of debates him. I love that. But look at this. Rostenmar, he sits up here. He scouts the compound. He doesn't shoot, but he sees that Bestelog leaves, right? Bestelog leaves, and of course Rostenmar, he's on foot now. He's running up to the compound, trying to continuously get info. And Bestelog continues down here. doesn't reveal that he has 3 teammates sitting in this compound. And that could be the call for Rustenmar, because he's now sitting up here trying to look forward, right? That could be the call for Rustenmar to say, guys, this should be open because Best of Luck just drove all the way down here. That's actually a pretty smart play from Red Diamonds, if it's on purpose. We never know, of course. But if it's on purpose, because you can see the full commitment, right? They just all full push up towards this compound, and then they get completely fucked because of it. So this little kind of trap made by Red Diamonds, if it was on purpose, well played. If it wasn't, well played too. But it's a pretty smart split up from Red Diamonds, and they get what, 3 kills? No, 2 kills off of it. Pretty smart. Circle once again down towards TSM, and I like to see that they're already in the vehicles. This is one of those. If we get the circle, we have to pick one. You cannot sit in these 2 compounds in circle 4 and not expect to get pushed. There's no way. So they have to prioritize one, and it seems to me like they prioritize the more center one. It makes perfect sense. Again, there was a threat on this one that you could have a team sitting up here looking down towards you that could screw you over. And now with this circle, because you know there's not going to be anyone down here, whatever team sits up here will have full control, right? Whereas if you go to this one, it's really hard for teams to do anything. It's one of those compounds where we say it all the time too. It's a compound that's hard to push, but it's also hard to leave, because it is a very center, very open compound that if you have to leave it, well, I mean, odds are that you'll die trying, because it's so open. So a lot of teams will have a chance to shoot at you while I try to make the run on out. Red Diamonds around the top side. FaZe, they're going all the way around up towards water treatment. Interesting. But that's again the thing, right? You gotta kind of bounce your way around and trying to see if you can find a place that's open. And there just wasn't any, like there weren't any entry points to the circle anywhere before that. So they have to go in late. Uber goes down and out. Not a whole lot more you could do there, really. You can see they're coming from the compound here. They can't just send it dead straight because there are teams there. So FaZe probably went down here to scout further forward, see if anything was open. NIP starts shooting at them. They have to continue around. Tries to go up there. Uber says nope. He goes center and he dies. Not really a whole lot more you can do in that situation. So Liquid took the compound that TSM left. Makes sense. Navi, they're sitting on the high ground. Circle pops once more. Straight on towards TSM and G2. G2, they've been sitting 3 guys in this gas station for a while. They have Chris. I mean, I think it's just a rock that's out there. I think it's just a rock that's down there that he's sitting by. I'm pretty sure it is. Circles closing on in. Chris Rock. Yeah. Chris Rock. Exactly. Red Diamonds, they get pushed up by Navi. They say nope, ain't gonna happen. Take them down. Vitality tries to hold off the push as well. They're sitting on the edge up here. I like the Braxco pushes up actually, because they have Chris down here, they have Kane and Udyr there, and then they send up Braxco. There's like a bit of a road running up here that if you get on this side, you can play safe. So he goes up here first of all to get the entirety of water treatment cleared, but also he can sit up here without being visible on this side and contain should Vitality push down this direction. So smart play from him. He saw Vitality was under fire, and now we can sort of play the play not anchor, but like it's a really important info that he can get by having this split. So you might say, oh, it's late in the game, it's greedy to 3-way split, but because they're in the position they're in, they have Kane and Udyr down in the gas station. They can pretty much, you can see it right here. There's a line going. That's the ridge, like the side of the mountain. If anybody crosses it, goes down, Kane and Udyr will see it. Chris will be in a position to start shooting. And all Braxco has to do then, because their only threat right now is if they start shooting, like if they stand behind cover here and they go out to peek and shoot this direction, then their only threat right now is that they could be shot at by Vitality. And that's why they send Braxco up to prevent that. So should G2 to start shoot south and Vitality spots them, starts shooting down at them, then it's up to Braxco, because they don't know that he's there yet. So then it's up to Braxco to go up and take them out while they're busy shooting towards the teammates. So really smart play to send him up here. Now he's been spotted. He runs back down. Realizes there are more teammates than he can handle. He goes back down, but he got the info he needed. Guys, we have 3 guys sitting up here. Keep that in mind. Braxton and Chris 2-2. Again, it's not a very good spot to be in, but because none of these guys up here can push down, it's actually alright. Like, they can sit, if there's a rock here, they can sit on this side now because they don't want to get shut up by Vitality. And at the same time, none of these guys up here can really peek over the edge because, well, I mean, first of all, they're fighting each other. Second of all, if they do, G2 will shoot, Vitality will shoot, and Red Diamonds will be shooting up at them. So they're actually safe in their position. Despite it looking like seeming to be a bad spot to be sitting in, it's actually working out really well for them. And they even get the circle again. Wow, Vitality, vehicles for cover, not really gonna pay off. Shadow all by himself up top. Had to hold the high ground, he has to run down at some point. G2 tries to make the run on over. TSM, they realize in order for us, and I like that too. That's where TSM is good at committing to stuff, right? So C9 went down. He tried to crush down the hill, and you can see as soon as you peek over, taken down. TSM realized, because they still have this part of the ridge line, like they still have this in they can play from. And they could get hard shifted once more. But they realize in order for us to play from up here, we need to clear it. Like, we need to take full control. So C9 goes down. They realize we have a 2 or 3 man advantage. They make the full uncommitted push down. And they wipe out, I think they wipe out the tap. Yep, exactly. And you can see it shifts down towards them. Super smart play. Because now they get to stay up there for one more circle. And they'll be more center than Vitality. So they pretty much just gave themselves a guaranteed second place off of that. Really, really smart play from TSM. Extremely smart. Vitality tries to run in from far out. Only because they pushed down and secured the kills is what allowed them to take it. And they win it with 4 guys alive. So sure, they had the circles early, but they win the game with 4 alive too. Really, really, really smart plays coming out from TSM there. I like to see it. Good job, guys. There's some of those decisions where you just gotta commit to it. Just gotta commit to it. And they do. And they did. And they won. So, well played by TSM, taking the win in game number 3. And now I think, let me just find the game there. We'll go over to game number 4. On Eranklu. E-Wrangle is where we're jumping over whenever this is done loading. Ta-da! Game number 4. There we go. Plane. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, Quarry over Lipovka. Everyone gets to go where they want. Huh. As I said that. Interesting. 2 changes. Changes to me. Change 1. Is that remember, this is the first day. I mean, day 1 was all about Na'Vi and Team Liquid fighting in Pochinki. Seems to me like Liquid won that fight. They probably paid them off and said, guys, please just give us freaking Pochinki. You can go military. And they do. So Na'Vi is military and NIP. I guess it's, again, we talked about the thing with FaZe before, right? How they didn't want to fight for vehicles. Because Red Diamonds, they have been sort of split looting down here on the south side of, maybe not so much here, but like splitting the south side of Georgia Pole. And they knew that they were going to go up there because they see them fly out. And they just say, you know what, nope, not going to happen. And then NIP actually go over to the East Coast. That's not something I've seen before. So Drayden wanted to go loot here, or Lipovka even, and he gets a big fat nope, ain't going to happen. And, well, I mean, I guess they got the circle, so it all works out in the end. But that was a bit surprising. I was not anticipating that that call. I've seen them do other things, but to go Lipovka, that's a surprise. I mean, but then again, they do know that that nights they split 1-1-1-1. So why not contest? That's like the easiest spot to contest, right? If you know that there's a full team that lands so scattered, they're pretty easy to contest, and they pretty much go to the same exact spots every single time. So there's a lot of, like, it's easy to get the info on which one, like which spots you can go to and which ones you can contest. But Circle is an eastern one, rotations over Potato, rotations north around, rotations. Yeah, that's pretty much it. East, of course, as well. But not a whole lot more to it than that. Knights, they of course want to get together, kind of. They don't want to sit 4-way split. this early on in the game, especially not this center. So they go down and they commit to mansion. They could probably sit 2-2 instead of cramming all the people into mansion. But I mean, I guess they kind of do because they take full control of mansion. But it's still a pretty close split compared to the amount of control they probably could have taken had they wanted to. Windstrike go north, right? Diamonds go north. Crowd goes up there as well. Vitality coming over. And this is okay. So Raise Your Edge have done this rotation a couple of times. And looking from the plane, they probably don't see Na'Vi jump out actually. So they don't know that there's a military team. But if Na'Vi is smart at this point, if Na'Vi is really smart, because every time we've had these eastern circles, Raise Your Edge has gone over the bridge, right? So, oops, we're seeing them right here. If Na'Vi is really smart at this point, they just say, you know what? Let's just bridge camp them and hold them. But I guess that doesn't happen. They continue all the way up. I was just thinking that that could have been like a 200 IQ play to sit and raid for Raise Your Edge, but they don't. They prioritize getting into the circle, and I guess that makes sense too. Circle goes west, fortunately, shifts away from the water, includes Yesnaya, that's always horrible, and then all of a sudden it becomes a huge compound play, because that's pretty much all you have to play from here. You have the, no, you don't even have the forest in the south. You can sit here, you can sit in the middle, or there are the dips up here, or forest. And forest. That's pretty much all you can play from that's south of Yesnaya that isn't a compound. There as well, volcano. I think these are the marks. Okay, we'll take the dip as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 spots, 7 make that. Yeah, 7 spots south of Yesnaya that you can play from. But we have what? 13 teams down there. So you gotta hope that people find themselves some compounds to play around. Na'Vi, full committed, I guess you can say. They only have 2 players, Poka and Rekrun down here. Split into 2 now with yellows. They give up Alamo, pushing on up. Raise Your Edge, they take Volcano. A lot of interesting rotations here actually. Phase, they came in from the center. They go out towards the compound here. They scout further forward. Red Diamonds, they come down. And they try to push out, as you can see, to kill them, but not gonna happen. Allowed to rotate around the side. New circle pups, goes center again, and this just makes things even worse, because you have a compound here, but everything else, I mean, this is just a big field, right? You have the wizard in there, you have yellows up here, but everything else in here is just one big field. Then you have, we talked about, there's some dips over here that you can play around in. That's about it. And then you have the edge of the forest out here on the edge of the circle, but everything else is gonna be tough. It's dip down there as well. Not a whole lot more to play from. This is maybe the point where I was gonna say you see teams full on committing and sending in its Yesnaya, and that's despite the fact that it could actually end outside, easily end outside of Yesnaya. So interesting to see 2 teams full commit, but at this point, because they're sitting on the north side, like they come in from the north, right? Because they're already up here, you can't really turn around and go back because you have the forest here that's blocking off. And you know that there are teams in all the other spots because you were shot at by them before. So you cannot really rotate back where you came from. So you're pretty much forced to say we're going to take the north side. They probably could have driven around, but because they don't know if there's a team in apartments yet, or maybe a team sitting on the lake, or sitting up here, they kind of forced to just commit to the center. Could have been interesting to see them try and rotate around, but it's a risky play and you don't have a chance to scout it. So makes sense that they don't. So instant phase, they end up sitting on top of each other in there. Red Diamonds rotate from the east. They want to go underneath. Makes sense. Bestalok came down here. He took the position. He spotted out TSM. They don't get any kills on it, but they see them crash into forest, and that sends down Red Diamonds to the south. Smart rotation around G2. They get the dip up here. Really smart rotation from Red Diamonds, actually. I'm not sure if they're going to get anything out of it, but really smart rotations being made by them. Circle goes southeast. Ooh, G2 is in a good spot. Team Liquid get heaven. Red Diamond gets the compound. Do they get pushed by Knights though? Yes, they do. I like the commitment by Knights here. Good job. I'm not sure if they win the fight. They do. Okay. But now Jokers come in as well. Do they get the double? Full commitment by Knights. They get 2 knocks early onto Red Diamonds as they move into the compound. And they say, you know what? We cannot. That's again one of those. We don't necessarily want to play from the compound, but we want to be in a position where we will be able to take them out. Like we don't want to take the compound, but we don't want anyone else to be in there. It's pretty greedy, but that's pretty much how you have to play it. It's really smart too by Knights. They know that if we want to sit in the dip up here, they will be visible from the compound. They'll be visible from the hilltop above it, and they just say, you know what, we cannot have anybody in here. So they commit, they go in and take out red diamonds, and fortunately, I guess you can say, they get to reset before jokers come in, and I think it seems like they take them out too. I didn't watch this game, so I don't know exactly how it all unfolded, but TSM goes down, crowd tries to commit into the edge of the forest. That's not going to be easy. Oh, it seems like they actually died. Okay, so Knights, they die in the play here. So smart push in the end as well by jokers, because you could see they were sitting on the out in yellows, and they don't push early. They don't push. Like, they wanted to go and take the spot down here. There are some dips that you can play from, but as soon as they see the push from Knights, they just third party it. So really smart timing on the third party. You got 4 teams, make that 5 now up in Yasnaya. Ah, bless me. Vitality, they have yellows, can sit around for a while. James wants to push out, but now the push comes in from behind. So James is going to be the one to take a spot in the circle, like to clear some space, and then the remaining players from TSM, or from Team Liquid, I mean, come up to help. FaZe pull on this side. Are they allowed to take them down? If they do, that would be the perfectly timed 2-2, and they actually do. Holy cow! A little bit of help from G2, sure, but they see Windstrike in there. James comes up, he has the info. The entire team pushes in, and then they pretty much just third party from each side. I engage them from each side, but because they got overcommitted, I guess you can say, so they weren't aware that FaZe were there to begin with, and then James comes up, spots out one, and this is, I mean, again, when we go in depth with actual team fights, it's always much easier to just watch the stream. It will help a lot when it comes down to that. It's just, I mean, it's just a firefight with everyone. There isn't a lot of cover there. There are a few trees, but that's pretty much all you're gonna get in that spot. Navi pushes over. They know it's only 2 guys alive from FaZe. One goes down. Uber in the blue goes down as well. Smart play once again by Navi, doing it well. Satanic, a bit aggressive, goes down, has to cross the road now, and yeah, that's just not a whole lot more you can do from there, but gets top 5, so that's pretty good. And Joker's from this position as well, in a good spot to get a good in a good position. Vitality shifted out. Braxco, him pushing up here will allow for him to hold this entire road. He has, I mean, he could just sit behind the tree. If he just sits behind it, he can peek over. His only thing is, he's like the flanker, right, Braxco? His only thing is he cannot get knocked. Braxco cannot get knocked up here. So if he gets the info, if the firefight becomes too heavy, he has to leave. That's pretty much it. He cannot get knocked because there's no way he's going to be able to get rest. And if he gets knocked, that's a ton of information that his team will lose. So rather just have him come back to the teammates and play it safe. And that's one of the things that Braxco is really, really good at. Runs down to the teammates now. Now they have, I mean, now they have all the info they need. They'll leave it, like they'll keep him here until they have pinned, like until they have a situation that's under control. Like they want to have the advantage in info until it's a point where, well, I mean, now there's no more info that we can get. We know pretty much that all the remaining players are over here. So come down to us, Braxco. We'll just make a play on it. They make the push on towards Vitality. They need the help. They know there's still a couple of players alive from their team. And now they're 2-2 splitting. I mean, G2 does this so well, and I think that's exactly the reason why they're in the top. They're playing these games so extremely well coordinated. It's just the way that they're maneuvering, the way that they're splitting out, the way they're using Braxco to get more information. It's something that other teams do not do as well. That's for sure. And then once their fight is full, I mean, they're pretty much unstoppable. Look at the kill feed. Look at the kill feed. You can't really see it completely, obviously, because I'm stupid and I haven't really included the whole thing, and my webcam is in the way. But you can see it, all the red text here. They kill all the remaining, how many players? All the remaining 6 players. Make that even more because they take out these as well. At this point. So 11 out of, no, 10 out of the last, no wait, make that 11 out of the last 12 players are killed by G2. That's pretty impressive. At least I think so. So that was game 4. Game 4 in the books. And now we will jump over to game 5 of day 1. And it seems about, because now we've spent 1 hour on this one, right? So a little over an hour per day. That's what we're going for. Plane coming from the north. NIP, they get to go back where they came from. Red Diamonds were like, oh, we wanted that. But that shall not happen. Ratio Edge, take fast rail up to fast rail up to Sarki. Makes perfect sense too. I'm out of coffee. That's not good, but we'll live. So, it'll be alright. It'll be alright. Team Liquid wants to make the push on down. Take themselves. That's actually an interesting split Team Liquid does here. So they move out of Pachinki and they take yellows. Normally what you tend to see is that the teams will just take high ground and then flash rail. Pew, 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 pew. Yeah, exactly. Now what you tend to see with teams moving out of Pachinki is that if they go south, they will either commit further down south or they will just sit up here and be ready to rotate with all. It's not so often I see them take yellows as well. But clearly they're splitting out to get some info on where everyone else, so that they can move accordingly once they do decide to. They have a lot of space here in the center as well. I guess one of the good things is that by taking yellows, if they're sitting up here and they want to rotate further south at some point, should someone else be here, it's going to be hard for them to leave without having to fight yellows first. So by sending a Bisa down to yellows, it's pretty much a safe passage towards the circle later, should it shift anywhere south. Overly passive due to indecisiveness and limited info. The bunch up and didn't risk anything. Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Now they're here. We'll keep an eye on them. We'll keep an eye on them. And welcome, Freeman. I hope you're doing good, buddy. Circle comes pushing on in. Why do Ensign... Okay, so Ensign M19 fight over Cube. I'm doing really good. This is the first time I stream from home in so long. And I have just today upgraded my RAM too. So it's like on performance. It's just everything is good. I've got my build now that I won't need to upgrade. I think no matter what game I play, I don't have to upgrade my build now for the next at least a year and a half. RAM upgrade. I got a new GPU. I haven't installed my new GPU yet. I got my GPU, I got water cooler, I got RAM, I got 2 more SSDs. Oh, it's a good day. I got a it's just a regular 32 RAM speed ones. It's like Corsair Vengeance Pro, something like that. Which means I actually have these ones now that I don't know what I need for. I think I'm gonna build a stream PC with all the old gear that I have now. But I got that, and I got a 2060 GPU, and I got some Kraken water cooling, which is amazing. I'm excited to. I'll be building it all tomorrow. Yeah. I have to stream tonight on tournament stuff, and I don't want to risk not being able to. So I'll do it tomorrow during the day. Ends trying to make the push on down. Lost Trifley early on. Now they're full on sending it towards the yellow, like red house. Scary, but they make it work. TSM going in from the south. G2 spots them. They're sitting on the edge, and look at G2, guys. Keep G2 in mind because they're looting farm, right? I mean, they're a team that will sit edge for so long. They will sit edge. Holy shit, that's commitment to Pachinki. They will. This might be a bad time to mention that, but they will sit edge for so long, and then when they have to, just go center and fight off everyone. That's what I love to see. This time around, they go up, they see the new circle, they scout it and say, well, I guess I know where we're going. Pachinki it is, but they stay on the side here so that they can at least leave out with vehicles should they have to. Jokers and NIP. I think NIP has like a magnet on them that means if we start rotating, we have to go with another team too. I think I'll just remove the kill feed real quick because we don't really get a lot of info off of that. So NIP push up. They have to. They're rotating with Jokers and they have to fight Ratio Edge. Not really gonna happen at all. TSM smart rotations. They can't really scout a whole lot from here, but they see Jazza drive up towards Vitality. And that's the pressure out from here, because they were shot at from there before, and they go all the way around. Smart rotations. Like really, really smart rotations. Even if the game even if it goes anywhere else now, they can still do something from this spot. Maybe a bit over rotated there. They could just have stayed up here, because then they would have had a chance to rotate back should they need to. They probably over rotated a bit. I mean, it's always tricky, right? Because you can only get so much info. And they want to go out in the dip north. But I think because they started getting shot at, Michael had to change direction. Things just became chaotic. But had they stayed up here, I don't know from that spot if you can really save your vehicles. But then tank a bit of blue. Maybe stay out here so that once you see the next circle, should it shift south, then you'll have a chance to go all the way back where you came from. You could even drive here. Nobody's in a position to shoot at you other than Vitality. And then they could have stopped here to heal and stuff like that. But they commit north, makes sense. Now they just have to fight off M19 and Knights before they can go anywhere. Crowd, they make the full-on committed push. A little too slow, I think. They sent 2 guys up. It makes sense you do that thing where you send the back line, you send them around. Because then these guys that are sitting here, they can shoot if they have to, right? But it's as if the push, because now they got a player knocked, these guys should already be rotating. At this point, they should already be making their way in. But it doesn't really happen. And if all of Crowd gets eliminated, that's just, yep, that's embarrassing. When you, sure they have the defensive position, nobody else is engaging it. It's a 2 versus 4, and you lose it. That's not allowed to happen. Look how long it takes. The idea is really good to have them. I mean, you have Magister and Elf. They go around to push in. And while they're pushing, because they know that once Ents hears vehicles, they'll of course be looking out the window to shoot at them. So the setup is perfectly fine. They know they're inside the circle. We're not. We have to do something. Let's push it. We're 4 guys alive. We know they're only 2. They drive up. And while they're driving, because Squeaky and Mikas will be looking out the window, you have Dream and you have Set ready to shoot. Perfect. Makes sense. But as soon as this fight starts, as soon as boom, as we're here, these guys has to already be in the vehicles on their way to help them out. That's the issue. Because now you already have a guy knocked, and these guys, they're running to their vehicles. They're not in a position to help. And you can see, let's just stop it there. That's when he gets knocked. At 16 minutes and 52 seconds, right? Now they start rotating. 20 seconds later. They have a teammate that has been knocked for 20 seconds. And there's no help at all. Now they're rotating. That is... had it been 5-7 seconds, maybe. But that is just too long. And now they come over, they come in late. Their teammates, I mean, they go from a 4v2 fight to a 2v2 reset, 2v2. In all honesty, I mean, Ents, they're insane fraggers. Squeak and Mikas, they'll take you out if you do a 2v2 push on towards them. And they do that twice. And that really, that lost them the game. And you talked about Ents before. No, Windstrike, sorry. So Windstrike is sitting down here. Let's just go over them now that we have you here, Freeman. They sit down here. They're on the edge. They're sitting by the, there's like a wall thingy down here. And, I mean, it is hard to scout uphill. They hear red diamonds shoot over towards Crowd. They could have pushed up earlier. I guess that makes sense. Now they do push up. Vitality's on the side. They get 1 player knocked immediately. They fall back down. Nuki tries to crawl back down. They want to get the rest. Red diamonds allowed to go around the side. I mean, red diamonds, they can just split or spread out here and contain them. But now Vitality is coming in, so I guess that keeps them on one side. But Vitality can hold the other. They get down 1. Still pinned on the edge. The thing is, you know that you won't be able to push into the field. So how much control do you dare to go for up here? Because if you look back, sure there's a chance with this circle that they would be in. And it makes sense that they want to stay here for a while. But honestly, as soon as they hear, because they will they will hear the vehicle from EB. They will hear Yemti leave as well. in the US. As soon as they hear those vehicles, high ground position. Go take it. But then I guess it's because they hear red diamonds as well. Yeah, exactly. One thing is they know that they're up there. Another thing is if you know they're up there and they have not been shooting for the past I don't know how long, and they then rotate away, that is probably a call to go take their position. That would be the I don't know, my thought at least. But I think what keeps them down is that they hear red diamonds come over. So now they're afraid that if we push up, they might be able to engage. But look at how much they give them. This is all like all earlier in the game, right? While TSM comes around the corner. Look at how much room they give them, how much time they give them to go up and over. Now when they want to push up, red diamonds, instead of sitting down here, all the way up here. And that completely fucks over Windstrike. Had Windstrike been up here when red diamonds were down there, which they could have, because look at when TSM leaves, right? This is when they should have rotated. They would have been up here. Like, they would have been up here by the time that red diamonds were still down here. They could have kept them off, reset the fight, and then fought Vitality, had they been in a better spot. But because they play so passively, they allow for red diamonds to just abuse them and pin them down. And now with the circle going to the city, at this point, honestly, had Vitality, like in an imaginary world, they hold off red diamonds, Vitality pushes over, they win the fight. No matter who, like one team wins the fight, right? That means that there would only be one team left out here, and everyone else would be fighting in Pochinki. What you do then is you go down towards Barn, and while everyone else is fighting in here, you just chill. All of a sudden, you have a guaranteed top something spot. And that's exactly what Vitality does. They just move it on, like move on it earlier. So smart place. Squeaky didn't get that far. They do win the fight. They do win the fight. Okay, so they win it, but now they're miles out on the edge. They could have been in a much better spot. Now, I mean, there's nothing they can do. They try to push down towards the compound that's already taken. The entire city is shooting at them. Yeah, that's the thing, right? When you have a circle for so long and all of a sudden you get shifted away from it, you're like, whoops, should probably start trying to get some info now. Circle goes into, Pochinki. And I mean, with these city endings, it's super hard to really do anything as far as analysis goes, especially when we don't have the in-game feed. So we'll just fast forward it and let it all unfold. Face are sitting split. I like it. 80 goes back over. They have a really good spot, Face. They get the circle again. They don't have to leave. This compound, like these two houses that Uber and Fussface are in, are completely isolated. So they can just hold off. Like they have Mexi on the side, they have HC on the other side. They can hold them off if they try to push. Circle is going to go dead center. It ends on Face's compound. I would assume they win this game, but no, maybe not. Oh yeah, they probably do. Yep, they do. So they get a couple of circles in their favor. The circle ends on their compound. Fuss, all he has to do is stay inside and land a ton of shots, which of course he's very capable of doing. And well, I mean, they win the game. I want to go into detail with all these city fights too, because there's a lot to talk about, but it's just off of a map stream like this, it's yeah, not impossible, but you can't really talk a lot.